Hello and welcome all my beautiful vibrant hearts and ephemeral souls to today's video. So if you are an old friend, welcome back. If you are new here, hello, welcome. I am Vanessa Hart. It is so nice to meet you and to be able to chit chat with you today about a very important topic, which is something that I see pretty frequently in the spiritual community now. Quick disclaimer, I'm going to give a broad strokes overview of this dynamic that I'm about to talk about, but it is an in-depth discussion. So if you want to know more about anything that I mentioned in here today, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll make subsequent videos with further explanations. And as well, stick around because I will be talking kind of, again, broad strokes overview about things that you can do spiritually to help ease any tension if you experience this dynamic in your own life. So the dynamic that I'm referencing, it is very, very common among people who identify as empathic, clairsentient, highly sensitive, spiritually gifted, tapped in, though it does not have to, those labels don't have to apply in order for this to be something you experience in your own life. But the dynamic is when people are very, very spiritually tapped in, very intuitive, very connected to spirit, to the point where it makes it difficult to walk through this life in an earthly way. To the point where it makes it so hard to be able to fit into our earthly realm, our world, the way we have it. Oh, there's a white butterfly. It's beautiful. Our earthly realm, the way that we experience it, the physical world. It's hard to connect. It's hard to feel like you can be your authentic self. It's hard to feel like people understand you. So if any of this sounds like something that you have experienced, you are experiencing, you would like to heal through, you would like to improve, stay put, my dear friend. So what is this? This can be actually two different things happening at once, right? So I want to, well, maybe it's like three things, two major things, put those aside for a sec. And I want to say that when you are living a more spiritually based life, especially one that is more heart-centered, one that is more about connecting to energy, both, the energy of source as well as the energy of those around you. Our social culture does not really promote that in a high vibrational way, right? So I want to acknowledge that and really put the accountability on the fact that socially, that's not really something that we have seen yet. Be a consistent part, that collaborative, compassionate social lens has not been ubiquitously a part of human history. It's not something that we've always experienced. It's always been there. It's something that I think we are being called at a spiritual level collectively to evolve into. And again, that's its own topic that I can make a separate video on if you want. But I do want to acknowledge the fact that, in and of itself, just, no matter how healed, balanced, equilibrated you are, it is always going to be tough to move through a world that does not recognize the value of these skills and traits, that does not honor the value of these skills and traits, does not compensate, especially in a very materialistic or capitalistic way, does not, value and compensate you for these traits. So I want to put that out there first and foremost. But from a spiritual perspective, what is happening in this dynamic? So two big things. One is that this can represent an underactive, impacted, or wounded root chakra. That's the biggest one. Our root is our connection to the physical world, right? It is also our sense of boundaries and stability. It is feeling supported as we move through this life, right? And so while we think about the root, we think about it with our earthly experience, we often think about it with our possessions, our money, our physical survival, and that is absolutely a huge part of it. There is a spiritual element in both the root chakra and then below it in the earth star chakra about finding the divine in the mundane, in the physical, and being able to marry those two together. Hang on, just getting more comfy and cozy in my seat. Being able to marry those two together and see them not as oppositions or diametrically opposed, but as opposite sides of the same coin, right? As one, as a duality, as opposed to a polarity. And so a wounded, blocked, impacted, under-functioning root chakra can already result in us feeling fearful as we move throughout the world, feeling unsupported, feeling unprotected. It can it can manifest, that's the word, as us feeling like we struggle to connect to the physical as well, right? And so that's at more of a personal level. But one of the things the root also does, in addition to helping us feel secure and strong, is our sense of boundaries. And these also apply to our energetic boundaries. So one thing that I always see when I work with clients who are very spiritually gifted, again, particularly those who identify as empathic, clairsentient, highly sensitive, though not exclusively, is they'll come in talking about feeling like they're very kind of blown about by the winds of other people's energy. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking. She needs some root work too. She's very secure in herself. She's got an overactive root chakra. But that's one of the things that the common sort of complaints that I hear, or common issues that I hear. And again, this can come from an underactive or underperforming root chakra, where when our root is underperforming, or is not stable, balanced, grounded, efficiently functioning, it can result in us being very energetically permeable, right? Because we have no sense of stability, foundation, or boundaries. So one of the ways that manifests is being intensely susceptible to other people's energies, and other people's moods. Now, one of the other things that's happening in this dynamic is that while you can have an underperforming root chakra, you may also have an overperforming crown chakra. And, we do think about our crown as our connection to source, right? And it very much is. But our crown is not only our connection to source, but it's also our connection and our feeling of connection to one another, because we are all connected through our crowns to source and thus to each other. It's a reciprocal effect, right? We are all a piece of source energy, and thus we are all, no matter how different we may all seem, we are all the same at the spiritual level, right? And so when we have an overperforming, crown chakra, or an over-functioning crown chakra, it's, misfunctioning. One of the dynamics that this can result in is that we have an almost, I'm going to say, over-dependent relationship with spirit, at the expense of the relationship to other people. And this can kind of manifest where we feel, we're very spiritually tapped in and connected. And sometimes that can happen to the extent where we feel very disconnected from other people, right? So it's an over-functioning or an imbalanced functioning, where we are connecting to spirit as our primary relationship, and we struggle to see ourselves as similar to one another. We struggle to see ourselves in other people, and we struggle to be able to connect with other people and feel like they see us and like us and accept us, and feel like, we are kindred spirits, and we struggle to see where our place is, where we fit in with other people in particular, right? And, again, I think this is also exacerbated by the fact that we have a limited view of spirituality in common culture. And so that probably makes it more difficult to be able to connect. We really venerate and honor the earthly, the mundane, the material, and the physical, and it makes it harder to connect over those abstract concepts, ideas, goals, etc. There's a lot of moving pieces to it. But when these two come together, an overactive or imbalanced functioning crown chakra and an underactive, wounded, imbalanced root chakra, the dynamic this can create is somebody who's very permeable to other people's energy, right? They're very unintentionally open to other people's energy. Somebody who does not feel safe or secure or accepted moving throughout the physical world. Somebody who struggles to be grounded in their body. Somebody who struggles to be grounded in the present moment, and somebody who struggles to feel like, especially moving throughout our earthly world, they are similar to the people around them, or the people around them see them as the same, right? And that's a very human need, is to feel like we are among like kind. And so this dynamic, can offer, can often lead to people over-identifying with their spirituality or their spiritual gifts, because it's the only safe place. It's the only safe place they feel connected, they feel accepted, because our spiritual selves and our earthly human selves are both integral parts of our identity, and we need to feel like both are going to be seen, heard, and accepted. So when we don't feel like our spiritual self is going to be seen, heard, and accepted by those around us, of course, we shy away and we go to the spaces where we do feel like the most, deep, intimate, important parts of ourselves are going to be welcome. And if that's with spirit, that's with spirit. So this is kind of a little bit of what can contribute spiritually to that dynamic of feeling like, excuse me, like you know, are too different, you don't fit in, you're not safe to be your authentic self. Your authentic self is not valued. This is sort of spiritually what can create that dynamic or exacerbate that dynamic. And of course, you know, you could maybe only have an impacted, you know, or weakened root chakra, or only have an impacted or weakened crown chakra. So sort of put yourself where you see yourself here. And if you're interested in doing a deeper dive into how this dynamic might be playing out for you or affecting you, I do offer guidance sessions. I also offer in-depth, like intensive chakra healing programs that last for about 5 weeks. So if you're interested, oh my gosh, my allergies. If you're interested, please feel free to check that out. My shop is linked down below with all of my offerings, and please feel free to reach out with direct questions. I'd love to be able to help. So what can we do about this? The first thing I always recommend, especially whenever I'm working with somebody who's like wants to improve their chakra functioning but doesn't know where to start, or again identifies as empathic, clairsentient, and wants to help work on this dynamic in their own life and how it shows up, is to work on your root, like hardcore. And I know that's not as much fun. It's not as flashy and as sexy for those who are trying to really spiritually advance themselves, but your root cannot be ignored. It is also the chakra upon which all the other chakras are, you know, I wouldn't say built, but stacked on top of. And right, there's a need to, there's a need to have good solid root functioning in order to be in good balance and health in general. So I always say work on your root, work on grounding, work on connecting with your physical body. Sorry, it was 11:11 as I said that, so I was like, in a way that's magical, but then I was like, oh wait, no. Connecting with your physical body, connecting with the world around you, being able to go out and spend time in nature, reminding yourself what you do love about the physical world, really learning to be present in your physical world surroundings and finding things that make you feel loved, safe, happy, comfortable, things like that. Doing root chakra meditations, listening to sound frequencies, all that good stuff. So if you have to pick one place to start with your root. And similarly, the other thing we can do is balance our crown chakra, right? And so if you have a very overactive, like, you know, over-functioning crown chakra, again, it might not feel as gratifying to work on the root, but really paying attention to the root first is going to naturally already help balance that out. Being able to, you know, like I said, do affirmations, to like listen to appropriate sound frequencies, meditate, all of those are going to help sort of balance out your crown chakra. And there's also a sense here of finding a spiritual community, or finding community of people you feel closer with, aligned with, right? And I always recommend, as like a little sort of, you know, extra credit exercise when you're trying to heal the crown, is really looking to the people that you do want to have in your life. You want to like cultivate those bonds, and really spending time looking for the ways and supporting the ways that you're more similar than you are different. That's like a small exercise that can really, really help out with crown chakra healing. But the goal here is to bring these two into balance as much as you possibly can. So that way you can have healthy chakra functioning, right? Of the standard 7 chakras, we have, you know, the first and the 7th, so T to B here. And so bringing these two into balance can already help to facilitate a better functioning when it comes to this dynamic in your own life. So that's what I have about it. It's a really, really, really important dynamic. I see it a lot with my clients, and I really wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit today. Like I said, if you want to know anything more, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to make extra videos explaining anything. And if you're interested in exploring this dynamic in your own life, you are welcome to book a session with me, or reach out and we can figure out, you know, how we can best be in communication about this issue. So yeah, thank you for spending your time with me today. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm wishing you big blessings in your day ahead. Take care. Bye.